Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry Bulldog Nation, as you know, I've been doing a series of interviews with victims of good old Dr. Durrani. And with me today is Rose. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning.
I think it's still morning. I got to share something with you. We keep these little charts about your case. You had 2 surgeries at Christ Hospital. One in March 26, 2008, one February 25th, 2009, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had BMP2. They never did tell you about BMP2, did he? Of course not. He threatened you, said if you didn't do surgery, you'd be paralyzed in a wheelchair. False diagnosis. You had a complex fracture called a burst from a kyphosis. The MRI that he took pre-surgery, completely normal C-spine. Didn't stop him. He dictated an operative report 33 days late. So that's kind of an overview of your case in a nutshell. But let's start from the beginning, Rose. First off, where do you live?
Hamilton, Ohio.
Hamilton, Ohio. Right in the heart of the old Westchester debacle. What made you go to Durrani? Like, tell me how you ended up at Durrani's office.
I actually had some mental and emotional issues going on, some depression, and they had put me on a antidepressant is what I thought, but it was really a mood stabilizer and was the only medication I was on, and it kind of messed my head up, and I jumped off the 275 bridge to end my life.
You jumped off the bridge?
Yes.
And you survived it?
Yes.
What part of 275 did you jump?
So I lived in Critton, Kentucky then, and I drove. I had took all the medication they gave me, and then I drove to Ohio. So I entered in Ohio, and then I just turned around and was going back into Kentucky, and I just pulled over in the middle of the bridge and went over and jumped.
Do you remember, I mean, do you know what you hit? Did you hit concrete? You hit trees? You hit ground?
Well, I was in the middle of the bridge.
I'm only asking this because I know everybody watching this is wondering what the heck, what did you hit?
I hit the water.
You hit the water?
And it was about the middle of the bridge where I jumped. And
well, thank God you hit the water. Feet first?
But my feet up in the air. And
feet up near butt first?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
who got you out?
Well, I didn't.
Or did you change your mind halfway down, as some people say they do?
Well, no, the fall was actually very peaceful, and then when I hit it, it was reality. I woke up to not woke up. I would never went out, but I just couldn't get to the surface. I didn't know which way was up. I didn't know if I was going to the surface. I knew I was going to drown, and I finally did make it to the surface, and I kept going under and going under. And so I just barely had my head above water, so it was like just this much of me. And if I was breathing, taking little tiny breaths, I was able to stay above that, just right there. And until I floated to the bank and crawled to a campsite and begged for help.
So Licking River is what you did. Now, so from there, where'd they take you? Like from the campsite, where did you go?
Well, I banged on the door, and there was blood everywhere. And I didn't know this when I came to the bank. I just felt really dizzy and just exhausted. And it was in May, it was May. The river was down, and we didn't have much rain then, and it started raining, and it was still kind of cold. So when the rain started hitting me, it felt like razor blades, and I didn't know this at the moment, but it had skinned me, and so the rain hit and it was hurting. So that's what made me go to the actual camper and bang on the door. And then they opened the door and they started screaming, and they told me to go back where I came from. They slammed the door, and I was...
You scared them. You're like something out of a Halloween movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. But I didn't know that at the moment. I mean, I knew it wasn't good. But then I couldn't go anywhere because I couldn't walk. I couldn't nothing. So I banged on the door again. I begged them, just please take me to the road and drop me off, just something. They got a sheet or a blanket, put it in the car and put me in the car. And I thought they were just arguing inside before they did this. And I thought they were going to take me to back to the river and dump me. Because I felt like I just got this weird feeling that something was going on, that they didn't want police or anybody there. And so they didn't. They took me to LeBeau's bar, I think.
They took you to a bar?
Yeah, they took me to a bar and they pushed me out of the car in front of the stairs that go up to the bar. And
believe this story?
And then a waitress come down the steps and saw me, and that's when I realized after thinking I was going to die the whole time in the water, I thought I was going to die for sure, because she just went pale, and the look on her face, I thought she was about to pass out. And that's when I knew it was bad. And then I started puking blood and stuff like that. And they helped. They called 911 and got me help. So.
And where'd the ambulance take you?
I'm not real.
St. E's East, St. Luke.
No.
They took you to university.
Yeah, university.
Okay. So, how long were you in university?
I think it was about 10 days.
Okay.
I think.
What were your injuries that you remember?
So I was completely.
Besides being skinned.
Right. I was completely bruised. My whole body was bruised and swollen, and my butt cheeks were like under my back. So like it moved my muscles. But I don't really know my injuries because Durrani was my doctor. Mm-hmm. But he didn't find.
So you'd seen Durrani before this?
No.
Okay.
I met him there.
So how'd you get to Durrani?
He was there.
Ah, so Durrani working at University Hospital, that's how you got him.
Yeah.
And see?
And so I was a suicide attempt. So of course, I wasn't allowed any pain medications. I wasn't allowed. Somebody had to be sitting with me at all times. It was a nightmare experience.
How did you end up having a back surgery, or a spine surgery? What led to that?
So he came in. He said that I had a broken back, and that he didn't. But he failed to find my tailbone was shattered. So I found that out months later. But
he didn't tell you that.
Yeah, he didn't tell me that. And I actually found that out while I was.
I don't think Durrani even looked at medical.
I don't think he did either. So he said I had to have. He said I broke my back and I had to have surgery. That if I didn't, I would be addicted to pain pills and on drugs. On drugs. Like he said, pain pills and drugs.
Well, your first surgery was March 26, 2008. How long after your suicide attempt was that?
A year. Because it was May 15th that I jumped off the bridge.
Okay.
So he actually put me in a brace for a year.
Okay.
And said that he had to do. He said I crushed one vertebrae or something in the middle of my back, and so he was only supposed to. I had thought fix one.
It's shocking that he put you in a brace for a year. He usually knifes people right away.
Well, I think it was maybe.
Why did he tell you that you needed that surgery?
That I would be paralyzed if I didn't. I wouldn't. And at the time, I wanted.
And how did that go? What was the result of that surgery? Did you feel better? Feel worse? What happened?
Well, when I woke up, I had a really large incision, and so.
You weren't planning on that.
No, it was only supposed to be like a one. He said 1
minimally
inch.
invasive.
Yeah, and it ended up being a very 4 or 5 inches. He said he had.
What area of the back? Lower, middle, or huh?
The middle.
Okay.
So he had to do. He said as he was working on the one and putting the screws and stuff in, my other vertebrae broke. So.
Wow.
I don't know.
By the way, that's a pretty heart you have.
Thank you.
That's a pretty piece of jewelry. So what led to the February 25th, 2009 at Christ surgery?
So after the first surgery, I wasn't back to normal because I used to run then, and I wasn't able to run.
You look athletic.
Yeah, I wasn't able to run on a treadmill anymore. Well, I think I look athletic because of BMP too, honestly, but I wasn't able to run on the treadmill.
Have you battled cancer?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
But I'm very scared about that all the time.
Right. Don't blame you.
But I know I still having a lot of problems, but my neck started swelling up real bad, and it was like when I would walk, it would jiggle like swelling up. And so I went back to him and I asked him what's going on. He had told me I had a birth defect, and I'm like, well, how did I have a birth defect and just now know about it? I think I was 26 at the time, mm-hmm. And he said that it was stenosis. It was a genetic disease, and I'm like, I don't really know half my family. I don't know. So well, okay. So I trusted him. I did trust him at that time still, and I didn't really notice probably the pain in my middle of my back surgery because of the stenosis in my neck. And it got to the point where I couldn't turn. I still have trouble turning with range of motion, but then I couldn't turn my head at all. What
happened with after that surgery? What kind of result did you get?
Is
that when it went south?
It's just never. I've never gotten over it.
Never gotten over it.
I can move and stuff like that, but
let's talk about the most important things. How is your body restricted movement wise since that surgery?
Well, right to left on my head, like moving my head. Some days are better than others.
The second surgery got your neck?
Yeah, he cut from my skull down.
The cervical area.
And it was a very hard surgery. It wasn't like the first one. The first one was bad, but it wasn't like it was. I didn't think I was ever going to come out of that surgery. It just seemed.
Well, the cervical surgeries are the most dangerous because of the proximity towards your brain, your brain stem, how, with your head moving. What about pain from the last 15 years? What's your pain?
Well, I guess it's a blessing and a curse. I wasn't allowed to have pain medications because I was a suicide attempt. So they were very, very, I wasn't
cautious, restrictive.
The pain clinics would never take me or anything like that. So, I mean, that's a blessing in the long run. But at the time, and so I've got.
So you've had to endure the pain on Tylenol and Advil?
Yeah. And so, and you know,
has it ever changed, or have they kept you on that regimen, or can you take pain medication?
Gabapentin. I probably could now if I wanted to, but I don't. I just choose not to. I'll do a shot of vinegar every day, apple cider vinegar, because it does help. But I just don't trust doctors enough to go and try to figure anything out. I do know I went to the Mayfield Clinic after all this came about, and I've been in and out of therapy, especially after the surgeries, like all the way up until now. But I went to the Mayfield Clinic, and they were just like, well, we don't even know what kind of surgery they did on your neck. I don't know if it's just that he didn't do it right, or they said they normally don't go up that far in your vertebrae. And when I finally did see the pictures of the screws and the hardware in there, it didn't look right to me. And I'm just a normal person. It just did not look, nothing was straight, nothing was right.
Is it a fair statement that your jump led you to Durrani, but nothing about your fall or jump, related to your need for the spine surgery? Or did they say that, hey, you need this surgery as a result of your jump in the Licking River?
The first surgery, they said it was from that.
Okay.
But when I was I went back to Durrani, and I said I was in so much pain, I couldn't take it, I couldn't sit, I couldn't nothing. Well, I was sitting in his office, and I believe this is the time when he had the dog in the office and all the $1 million fish tanks in there. And it's funny, I have to tell you this. There was a picture of where he went to school on his wall in that office. And I called my dad while I was waiting, because we'd go in there, you'd wait 3.5, 4 hours sometimes, it seemed like. And I was looking at this picture. I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, I said, my back surgeon got his degree in this
Pakistan military.
Yeah, I said, there's a picture of it. I said, I don't know. I'm kind of leery now. It's too late because I've already had the surgeries. But it was scary to see, like, why he would even put that picture up. It was just a scary. It made me kind of scared at that moment. But I had went in there, and I went to go get up, and I couldn't get up, and that's when I found out my tailbone was broken. I guess finally almost a year after the jump, swelling started to go away enough.
If you pushed your butt muscles up to your back, chances are it hurt your tailbone.
Right. And
but it didn't do anything after a year?
Well, it might have been within 6 months.
As you know, we've got nurse summaries, expert reports, and everything on you. I just asked for the chart because it's a short interview, but I'm going to have to go back to the office and look at your nurse review to see what they said.
Yeah, because and at the time, I was so confused. I had never broke a bone in my life, never. So, and then after the surgery, it was worse. The back pain was worse than the jump. Mm-hmm. And I was in that brace for a year, and so I didn't understand. It was like he weakened me for a year to do the surgery. What do you miss the most about your life after Durrani? Not having the arthritis, the pain, and the range of motion, and the worry. I mean, it's messed with me. I was obviously having some psychological issues then, but mentally it's messed with me a lot. There's many years I didn't go to the doctor. If you're having some psychological issues, meeting Durrani isn't going to help him any. Well, I think he instilled paranoia. All he's going to do is make him worse. Yeah, he definitely instilled paranoia, and to me, it's just like this whole lawsuit thing for it to be. I just don't understand how. I just don't understand. It's insane. It is. There's no. Well, the way I say to you, to you all and everybody, is it makes no sense. The concept and the idea that a guy who's indicted by the feds for doing unnecessary surgeries and Medicare fraud flees the country, and his insurance company, rather than say, okay, we got $42 million, here's $100,000 for each of you, we're out of here,
and instead do what they've done for 11 years is unfreaking believable. The good news is we're going to get them. And as I've shared with you, you know, if they would have done that, it'd only be $100,000.
Right.
I want everyone to get about $1 million out of their butts.
And
if that fraud case against Medical Protective goes forward, we will win.
And I think that my case is one of the ones, it was too late to do anything.
Statute of repose.
Yeah.
Another stupid rule.
And I don't know if my second surgery was part of that, but I know the first one was. But I would have never had to have the second one. And the second surgery by far was much worse, and that's it causes me more problems today than the first one. But it's just, you know, it's hard. It's a hard thing to take in and accept. You know, they say, you know, you have to accept it, accept things that happen, and move on. It's hard to accept that somebody can. I got a
little different take on it. I think not necessarily accept, but you got to fight through, because we're on this world for a short period of time, and we all get dealt different kinds of cards. And what I just encourage you to do, Rose, is hour by hour, day by day, fight on, live, and whatnot. Do you have any children?
I do.
How many children?
I have one son. He's 19.
He came to the Smale Park event. Was that him? Yeah. Well, there's a lot to live for, right?
And he's scared. He doesn't trust doctors. He doesn't. He's had to watch me go through what I've been through. If a
Cincinnati Children's sanctioned doctor did this, it's hard to not trust doctors.
Yeah, and he's watched all the pain and stuff I've gone through, and he worries. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, Rose.
I appreciate it.
You hang in there and keep fighting.
Thank you.
Another Durrani victim. It never ends.